What if I told you that every time you look at reality, it changes? Take a moment right now to feel the air around you, the temperature against your skin, the subtle sounds that filter into your awareness. You are in a specific space, at a specific time, and it all feels so solid, so fixed. The chair beneath you, the light filtering in, the screen you are watching, all of it appears to be an unchangeable, predictable machine running on rails laid down long ago. But what if that feeling of fixed permanence is the greatest illusion you have ever accepted? What if the universe is not something you are in, but rather something that is continuously re-sculpting itself for you based on the simplest, most profound act you perform every second of your existence? I mean the act of looking, the act of noticing, the quiet, constant miracle of awareness. Think about waking up this morning. You opened your eyes, and in that instant the world solidified around you. But before you opened them, while you were suspended in that liminal space between dream and form, everything was pure potential. And I want you to start noticing the subtle differences that appear in your world once you bring your gaze, your conscious intent, to bear upon it. You may have already felt this, that uncanny sense that your very act of noticing makes things shift, makes things appear, or makes things vanish. It's a feeling that edges on magic, but I promise you, it is pure, unadulterated physics. This revelation, this key to unlocking a more fluid and responsive reality, lies in something physicists stumbled upon nearly a century ago, the quantum observer effect. They discovered that the smallest building blocks of reality, the subatomic particles that make up everything you see and touch, behave fundamentally differently when they are being watched. When no one is looking, they are an infinite, shimmering cloud of possibility. The moment they are observed, they are forced to choose one single fixed location, one definite outcome, one concrete version of reality. Physicists called it the collapse of the wave function. It was a mystery that broke their old models of the universe, yet mystics, sages, and esoteric teachers across every single ancient tradition have been saying it for ages. Awareness itself is the true, fundamental creator. The universe is a reflection, and consciousness is the mirror and the light by which that reflection is cast. We are not talking about simple self-help platitudes here. We are talking about the deepest, most beautiful truth at the core of existence. Your attention is the lens, your consciousness is the light, and the world is the film waiting to be developed. By the end of this video, you will not just understand a scientific curiosity. You will understand how to observe reality in a way that makes it align, not haphazardly, but with your conscious, deliberate intent. You will learn to watch the world in a way that causes it to obey your will, simply because your will is finally aligned with the creative force of the universe itself. This is the art of quantum mastery, and it all begins with a deep dive into the greatest mystery of modern science. The story begins in a dark, quiet laboratory where physicists were trying to understand what matter really is. They devised an elegant, simple experiment called the Double-Slit Experiment. Imagine firing tiny bullets, like electrons, at a wall with two vertical slits cut into it. If you fire those bullets, you would expect to see two corresponding bands of hits on a screen behind the wall. That's solid Newtonian physics, predictable, concrete. But that's not what happened. When they fired these electrons, they didn't act like tiny solid bullets. Instead, they created an interference pattern on the screen behind the slits, the same kind of pattern you would see if you threw two pebbles into a still pond and the ripples overlapped. This pattern could only mean one thing. Each electron was behaving like a wave, passing through both slits simultaneously and interfering with itself before hitting the screen. This is the first revelation. When no one looks, matter behaves like a wave, infinite potential, undefined, a probability cloud suspended in creative possibility. Every electron was everywhere until it wasn't. Now, here is where the narrative of reality shatters. The scientists, baffled, decided to place a tiny detector near the slits to simply watch which slit the electron went through. They weren't trying to interfere with it, just observe it. The moment they introduced the observer, the consciousness, the detector, the measuring device, everything changed. The interference pattern vanished. On the screen, they saw exactly what Newtonian physics predicted. Two distinct bands, as if the electrons had suddenly remembered they were supposed to be solid little bullets. The act of watching them, the simple, quiet act of observation, forced the potential to collapse. It compelled the electron to choose one path, one outcome, one location out of the infinite possibilities it occupied a moment before. This single result is the absolute, unquestionable foundation for everything we are exploring together. It tells us that reality, at its deepest level, is not fixed until consciousness intervenes. It tells us that the universe is not a machine running mechanically on rails. It is an intelligent, responsive field that listens, that waits for the signature of awareness before making its choices. The universe is a giant, exquisitely sensitive photographic plate, and your observation is the light that burns the image onto the form. The Newtonian world, the world of predictable billiard balls and fixed structures, is merely a high-level illusion we create by agreeing on what we observe. But the quantum world, the underlying truth, is one of constant, fluid, and immediate response to your consciousness. When you step back and really let this sink in, the awe is immense. The universe isn't out there, cold and separate. It's an electrical field of pure energetic potential, and the collapse of the wave function, the solidifying of your day, your circumstance, your health, your relationship, all of it is happening inside your own field of consciousness. The uncertainty in the electron's position mirrors the uncertainty in your life before you consciously decide what you are looking for. The quantum world is happening right now, inside of you. Every moment you decide what you are going to focus on, what you are going to believe, and what you are going to expect to see. But the deeper we look into this mystery, the more profound the question becomes. The physicists could describe the effect, the collapse, but they could not identify the cause. The detector itself, whether it was a laser or a camera, is just a collection of atoms. When does matter stop being a wave of potential and start being a fixed, solid observer? Where is the line? And the answer they could not find. The physicists' missing variable is the very thing that the mystics have whispered about for millennia. The missing variable is you. The missing variable is consciousness. Who is the observer? The observer is not merely the eye that looks through the glass or the camera that records the data. The true observer is the silent, pure light of awareness that gives the data meaning. Physics describes the mechanism of the collapse, but it cannot describe the source of the light, the intentionality, the self-awareness, the feeling of I am that fuels the observation. This is the point where science and spirituality do not just meet, they become inseparable. What science calls observation, the Vedic, Hermetic, and Gnostic traditions call illumination, or the light of consciousness illuminating the void. The ancient texts describe Brahman, or the All, as an underlying infinite field of pure potential, a canvas of formlessness waiting for the self-aware fragment, your soul, your consciousness, to place its attention upon a specific point and declare, "Let there be this." Think of your consciousness as a single, sovereign drop in an ocean of awareness. That ocean is the field of quantum potential. When you, the drop, choose a direction for your attention, that potential collapses into form. It becomes your specific, personal reality. The Gnostics understood that the external world is a projection of the inner state, not a jail cell to be escaped, but a field to be commanded. The Hermetic axiom, "as above, so below," is a perfect description of the observer effect. The infinite potential in the quantum field mirrors the infinite possibility within your own mind, and your conscious focus is the mechanism that bridges the two. We see this unified field not just in ancient wisdom, but in another mind-bending quantum phenomenon, entanglement. When two particles become entangled, they become a single system, regardless of the physical distance separating them. You can separate them across the galaxy, and if you measure the spin of one, the other instantaneously assumes the opposite spin. There is no time delay, no travel of information. They are connected by a non-local underlying intelligence. When two particles mirror each other across the galaxies, it is the exact same principle as two souls connected across lifetimes, or the instant alignment you feel with an idea you just manifested. It is all one field, one awareness. Your consciousness is not a product of your brain. Your brain is a sophisticated receiver and transmitter for the universal consciousness that is the true observer. The brain processes the data, but the deeper awareness collapses the data from possibility into a solid moment. This is the absolute, most crucial truth we must anchor ourselves to. Your consciousness determines which version of reality solidifies around you. You are not a secondary player in a fixed narrative. You are the source of the light that creates the narrative in the first place. You are the sovereign observer, and everything outside of you is merely waiting for your instruction. Now that we understand who the observer is, your consciousness, we must understand the primary tool that consciousness uses to perform the creative act. That tool is your attention. Attention is the great hidden power that we misuse and squander most of the day. We let it drift, chasing fears, reacting to news cycles, rehashing old memories, and obsessing over what we don't want. In doing so, we're performing the observer effect unconsciously. We're collapsing the potential field into a reality that mirrors our most common, lowest-level focus. But what if you consciously weaponized your attention? Not for conflict, but for creation. What if you understood that attention is the creative lens through which the quantum wave function must pass? Where you focus, reality follows. The reality around you is compelled to align itself with the energy of your observation. Think about the simple, everyday magic of synchronicity. When you decide you are going to focus on abundance, you start noticing opportunities everywhere. When you expect kindness, you suddenly multiply the chances of people being kind to you. When you assume things will work out, not just hope, but assume with the quiet certainty of the observer, the impossible logistical threads required to make it happen start weaving themselves together seamlessly. This is where psychology and spirituality, the inner world and the quantum world, bridge perfectly. You've heard of the reticular activating system, or RAM, the filter in your brain that screens incoming sensory data to match what you believe is important. If you just bought a new red car, the RAM suddenly makes you see that model of red car everywhere.
Psychology says your brain is filtering reality to match what you believe. But the quantum truth is even deeper. The universe is filtering the wave function of potential to match what you believe is important.
Your attention is the mechanism of the collapse. Your belief, charged with emotion, is the frequency of the collapse. It is the specific instruction set you are sending out to the intelligent field. When you focus on lack, the universe gives you evidence of lack. When you observe with gratitude, the field collapses possibilities that justify and multiply that gratitude.
This is why we can say, with poetic resonance and scientific precision, attention is prayer. Observation is creation. It is not about doing more, it is about observing better. The moment you catch yourself observing the problem instead of the desired solution, you have caught your sovereign consciousness in the act of creating a reality you do not want. The power is in the immediate, gentle, conscious redirection of that observation.
You are not a bystander in the universe. You are its scriptwriter. Your entire life, up until this moment, has been the result of your accumulated, mostly unconscious observations. But now, armed with this knowledge of the quantum observer effect, you have the power to step into a new role, that of the conscious editor, the deliberate watcher, the master observer who knows precisely what reality he or she is calling forth into form. This is your birthright, a foundational truth of your existence, and it is time to use it.
If this topic, this blend of deep science and ancient wisdom, is expanding your mind and shifting the ground beneath your feet, I want to give you a powerful tool to take the next step. Understanding the observer effect intellectually is one thing, but applying it requires rewiring the subconscious patterns that shape the timeline you currently observe. That's why I've created a free ebook, The Magic of Affirmations. It is your guide to specifically restructuring your inner language to match the reality you want to collapse into form. It's an essential companion to this video, and you can download it for free right now, so you can begin programming your consciousness to observe the highest possible outcomes for your life. The link is below.
Now, let's move from theory to practice. It is not enough to know the principle. You must become the living example of the quantum alchemy practice. This is a gentle, immersive exercise designed to train your consciousness to observe with certainty, thereby causing the wave function of your life to collapse into your preferred outcome.
Observation starts when the noise ends. The first step in this alchemy is stillness. Find a space where you will not be disturbed for a few minutes. Close your eyes. Drop your attention away from the chatter of your mind, the tasks of the day, and the demands of the world. Imagine your consciousness settling like still water in a lake, the surface perfectly calm, reflecting the vastness of the sky, the infinite potential above it. This stillness is the pure, unconditioned state of the observer, free from the biases of the ego and the noise of fear. In the silence, you reconnect with the fundamental creative force that you are.
The second step is focus. Choose one reality you want to experience. This cannot be a vague wish or a fuzzy desire. It must be a specific outcome, a single solidified image of the reality you intend to observe into being. For example, not just, I want more money, but I am experiencing the feeling of financial security that comes from having a specific, measurable amount of money in my account right now. Choose a health outcome, a relational outcome, or a creative outcome. Pinpoint the collapsed version of the wave function you are targeting.
Hold this image, this chosen reality, in the center of your still awareness.
The third and most crucial step is to observe with certainty. This is the leap of faith, which is not faith in an external power, but faith in your own consciousness as the creative power. You must feel as if the reality you are observing already exists. You must become the vibrational match of the finished product. How does it feel to already have the money, the health, or the relationship? Let the feeling wash over you. Is it relief? Is it freedom? Is it deep, quiet gratitude? Your emotion is the energetic charge that tells the quantum field the observation is serious. Without this emotional charge, the observation is merely an intellectual thought, and thoughts alone do not collapse potential. Feeling charged awareness does. Feel the certainty. It is not future tense, it is present tense. You are not waiting for it to happen. You are already watching it happen. You are observing the electron already sitting in the desired slit. Imagine your consciousness watching your life from above as if your reality is a complex simulation unfolding on a screen. Every time you look down with that feeling of love, gratitude, and certainty, the pixels of your current reality rearrange themselves to obey your focus. The field of potential must align itself to your observation. The rules of physics at the deepest level demand it. The final step is sustain. This is where most people falter. They observe for a moment and then immediately revert to observing the current unwanted circumstances, thereby recollapsing the old reality. The work of the quantum alchemist is to keep the focus steady until the universe reshapes around it. This doesn't mean you sit in stillness all day. It means you carry the feeling of the finished reality with you. Every time a doubt or a fear arises, you acknowledge it, and then you gently redirect your attention back to your desired observation, back to the certainty. You are choosing, again and again, which timeline to collapse. The alchemist's first power isn't action, it's conscious observation. The action that follows will be inspired action, effortless and aligned because the potential field has already been instructed. We have journeyed from the mystery of the lab to the mastery of the inner sanctum. Now let's tie everything together and build toward the ultimate truth. What we have uncovered is a perfect, logical, and divine feedback loop that governs existence. Conscious observation, wave function collapse, manifestation of form. You are the first domino in this sequence. The universe is not a neutral, dead background. It is an active, living, self-aware medium. It is an ocean of intelligence that is fundamentally connected to your own core of awareness. When you observe a current undesirable circumstance, you are collapsing more of it into existence. You are confirming the electron is in the wrong slit, and the universe, in its perfect obedience, says, "As you wish." When you observe a desired reality with the quiet, persistent certainty of the alchemist, you are sending a clear, non-negotiable instruction to the field, and it must comply. This is not magic. It is the fundamental law of observation.
We must reverse our understanding of geometry and perspective. We have been taught that we are a tiny, fragile human floating in an enormous, indifferent universe. That is the illusion of the Newtonian machine. The revelation of the quantum observer effect is this: you are not inside the universe. The universe is inside your observation. It exists for you as a projection of your chosen focal point. Your physical senses are merely the mechanism that allows you to interact with the version of the wave function your awareness has collapsed. Every sight,
Every sound, every feeling you experience is a highly specific, personalized feedback loop responding to the frequency you are emitting.
This understanding builds to an emotional crescendo because it places the entire responsibility, and therefore the entire power, squarely in your hands. You can stop feeling like a victim of circumstance because all circumstance is merely a reflection of a past, perhaps unconscious, observation. You have the power to step out of the reactive cycle right now. You can choose to be the deliberate observer, the one who knows that reality is not a fixed structure, but a fluid, responsive feedback loop. The world is listening. The field is waiting. Every potential is suspended, waiting for your instruction to assume form. Reality isn't something happening to you, it's happening because of you.
So, here we stand, at the end of this journey, looking back at the profound simplicity of the ultimate truth. The quantum observer effect isn't just a fascinating physics experiment. It is a mirror, showing you that your consciousness is not a passive receiver, but the active, creative force of the universe itself. The choice, then, is everything. What are you going to observe? Whatever you observe with love, attention, and certainty expands. You collapse possibility into beautiful form. Whatever you watch with fear, anxiety, and doubt contracts, solidifying into the very obstacles you wish to avoid.
The task is not to change the world outside, but to become an impeccable watcher of the world within. Discipline your attention. Practice the quiet certainty of the quantum alchemist. Recognize that every second is a fresh opportunity to instruct the wave function of your life. Every moment is a new collapse.
You are the mirror and the maker. Your future is not waiting for you to find it. It is waiting for you to observe it into existence. Take a breath now and feel that power. What are you observing most in your life? The fear of what might go wrong, or the absolute, certain possibility of your greatest, most beautiful outcome? The choice of where to place your attention is the choice of your destiny. Choose wisely, choose consciously, and watch as reality rearranges itself to obey the signature of your light.
If this exploration has opened your mind and resonated with the truth deep within you, please share it with someone who is ready to awaken their own creative power. It is time we shared this knowledge. Download the magic of affirmations now for your practical next step in this quantum alchemy. And be sure to subscribe to the channel for more deep explorations into the essential mind and reality connection. Thank you for observing with me. The world is now waiting for you to create.